it's a wrap.
All right, stop talking, please. Stop talking, please. Tell her to stop talking, please.
That's Spanish, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That means quiet.
Hey, bro, we did that.
I think so.
Wait, what?
Silencio, that means be quiet.
Go.
Doesn't silencio mean quiet?
Silencio.
Silencio.
Jeremy.
All right, number one.
Got you. Bro, just toss it, bro. One time. Yeah. So you will toss it to him? Jason, what the hell?
All right, you're looking for this side X right here, and you're given an angle. So in relation to this angle, you've got the opposite side, and you're looking for the adjacent side. Tangent is opposite and adjacent. So tan 20 equals opposite over adjacent. Crisscross multiply. The x's will cancel, and you can divide both sides by tan 20. These cancel, and x will be equal to 6 divided by 20 tan. And it looks like it's 16 second fix 2. They're asking it to be round to the nearest tenth, so your calculator can be set on second fix 1, and that's 16.5.
What? I got 16.48. Yeah, that's 16.48.
Well, like I said, the directions say round to the nearest tenth. So set your calculator to second fix 1. Number 2, you're given a 30-degree angle, a 10 and an x. Again, you're dealing with opposite and adjacent. So tan 30 equals opposite over adjacent. If it says quiz 5 study guide, that's the one you want. In this case, you're going to multiply both sides by 10. These 10s will cancel. So 10 times 30 tan and 5.8 equals x. Number 3. (16, 24 degrees) and x. In this case, in relation to the angle, you're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse. SOHCAHTOA, that's cosine. Cosine 24 equals adjacent over the hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by x. Divide both sides by cosine 24. (16 divided by 24 cos 17.5. You only got to write down like 3 things. In relation to the given angle, you're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. It's cosine again. It's cosine 40 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by 14. $10.7 equals X.
Never mind, okay.
Number 5, they give you the problem in words. It's still a right triangle problem. Viola drives 4 kilometers up a hill that makes a 5-degree with the horizontal. So this is 5 degrees. Driving up a hill. This is the side view of a hill. To the nearest tenth of a kilometer, what horizontal distance has she covered? Here's your horizontal distance right here. She drove 4 kilometers up a hill. Alright, so that's the distance she drove up the hill, 4 kilometers. They're asking what horizontal distance she covered. That's adjacent and hypotenuse. Cosine. Cosine of 5 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So 4 times cosine 5.
Wait.
Number 6. Now you're finding an angle measure. In this case, you're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. So the measure of x, the measure of angle x, is equal to cosine raised to the negative first power of adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's 5 over 13. So it's 5 divided by 13. And second cosine, 67.4 degrees. Number 7. You're finding an angle again. So you're going to be using the second function in your calculator. In this problem, you're dealing with opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So the measure of angle x equals sine to the negative 1 of opposite over hypotenuse. $23.6 degrees. Number 8. Opposite and adjacent in this problem. The measure of angle x equals opposite and adjacent is tangent. So tan negative 1, opposite's 14, adjacent is 7. So 14 divided by 7, and then second tan, 63.4. Opposite over adjacent. Number 9. Number 9, you're back to finding side lengths. And in relation to the angle, you're dealing with opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So sine of 29 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by 12. The 12s cancel. And 12 times 29 sine equals 5.8 is equal to x. Number 10, you're given a 34-degree angle, and adjacent is x, hypotenuse is 8. Adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. Cosine of 34 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by 8. So 8 times 34 cosine equals 6.6 equals x. Number 11, the angle's 30. One leg is x, the other leg is 10. You're dealing with opposite and adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is tan, so tan of 30 equals opposite over adjacent. So multiply both sides by 10. And 10 times 30 tan equals 5.8 equals x. Yep, they sure are. Piece of art is in the shape of an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle. Sides of 11. So all these sides are 11. Find the area of the piece of art. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So you're trying to find the area of a triangle. Area of a triangle equals 0.5 times the base times the height. You can use this 11 as the base, but in this case you don't have the height. So, a couple things going on here. If all these sides are the same, then all these angles are the same. If all the angles are the same and they have to add up to 180, then this angle is 60 degrees. All the angles are 60 degrees. This vertical line right here would represent the height of the triangle. It's an altitude. It goes from a vertex to its opposite side and intersects at 90 degrees. Now, since this is equilateral and equiangular, it's going to bisect this bottom side. So this piece of the bottom that's 11, this portion is 5.5. You need the height to finish the area formula. So in relation to this 60-degree angle, you need the opposite, and you're given the adjacent. Opposite and adjacent
We have the hypotenuse, right?
is tan. Correct. You've got the hypotenuse. So you could use opposite over hypotenuse or opposite and adjacent, whatever you prefer. So, yeah, let's use the hypotenuse because it's a whole number. So let's see. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. Sine of 60 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So if you multiply both sides by 11, the 11s will cancel. And sine 60, or 11 times 60 sine, equals 9.5 equals your h. So now, up here in this area formula, you got 0.5 times the base of the triangle, which is the 11, times the height of the triangle, which is your h, and that's your 9.5. So the area of this triangle is 0.5 times 11 times 9.5. 52 point. I got 52.3.
I mean, if you round up, it's 52.4. Because it's 52.30. So you round it up to 52.4.
Round to the nearest tenth. Yeah, I've got my I don't know why my calculator says 52.3. The answer says 52.4.
It's because when, like, I did it without the.
Yeah, actually it's 52.4. I had 52.3 in my calculator because all through this problem, I had my calculator set on second fix 1. So every time I did a calculation, I was rounding to the nearest tenth. You're better off having no rounding going on until the last step, and then you'll get it. You'll get the 0.4. Number 13. Conveyor belt carries supplies from the first floor to the second floor. Look, the whole quiz is triangle problems. So this has to be a triangle problem. So if you draw a picture of a conveyor belt, a side view of the conveyor belt, this would be your conveyor belt. A conveyor belt carries supplies from the first floor. So down here, this would be the first floor. And it carries them to the second floor, which is 22 feet higher. So if you make this your second floor, and it's 22 feet higher than the first floor, the belt makes a 60-degree angle with the ground. 60-degree angle with the ground. How far do the supplies travel from one end of the belt to the other? So you're looking for the hypotenuse, the length of this conveyor belt. So that is opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 60 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by x to get it out of the denominator, and then divide both sides by sine 60. Turn your music down. The sine 60s cancel, so x, the length of the hypotenuse, is equal to 22 divided by 60 sine, which is 25.4 feet. That's how far the supplies travel, 25.4 feet. Round your answer to the nearest foot. So they travel 25 feet. All right? If the belt moves at 75 feet per minute, the belt moves, look, 75 feet per 1 minute. This is feet per minute. That's your ratio. How long to the nearest tenth of a minute does it take the supplies to move to the second floor? So look, if the belt moves 75 feet in 1 minute, it's only got to go 25 feet. So it's not going to take a minute, is it? So turn your minutes into seconds right here. And change this 1 minute to 60 seconds. All right? So the belt moves 75 feet in 60 seconds. Make that equal to 25 feet in how many seconds? And then you can crisscross multiply to solve for the s. So 75 times s is 75s. And 60 times 25
1500.
is 1500. Divide both sides by 75. And your S is going to be equal to 20. Now, that's 20 seconds. 20 seconds because we converted the minutes, the 1 minute, into 60 seconds. So the belt's going to travel, or the goods, how far do the supplies travel? They travel 25 feet to the nearest tenth of a minute. How long to the nearest tenth of a minute does it take? So they're not asking for the answer in seconds. They're asking for it in tenths of a minute. So should have just left this as 75 over 1. So let's do that again. If you do 75 over 1 minute equals 25 over your seconds, crisscross multiply, so 75s equals 25. If you divide by 75, then your time, 25 divided by 75, 23. So it travels 25 feet, but it takes how long to the nearest tenth of a minute? So it's going to be 0.3 minutes. All right, so read the question carefully. If they ask for your time in minutes, keep your ratio in minutes. If they ask for the time in seconds, then you can convert your ratio to seconds.